while the attendees settle in. Like a nice little entertainment. All right, so we're just going like live on LinkedIn and YouTube as well. So we'll just wait for a couple of seconds before the stream gets settled in there, and then we'll start.
Love it.
Yeah, makes me feel like I'm on an infinite elevator. Yes. Yeah, I think it's definitely like elevator music. Yeah, I agree.
Makes me want to get out a glass of wine.
Yeah, we have about 20 attendees so far. We'll just wait for a few more seconds for some more people to join in. And yeah, then we'll start.
I love it that we have people from all over the world represented. Mexico, Costa Rica, California.
All right, I think people will keep joining in. In the meantime, I can get started. Oh, Ankit is here. Hi, Ankit.
Hi, Chavi. Hi, Melissa. Nice to meet you.
Hi, likewise.
Yeah, Ankit is the Associate Director Sales at Recruit CRM. All
Hello.
right. Well, thank you for joining, Ankit. We're just about to start. So I think we have quite a few people in already. Let's get started. I'll quickly stop sharing the music. Just give me 1 second. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Let me just put this on slideshow. Well, good day, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Maximize Your 2025 Hiring Success with Melissa Grabiner. I'm Chavi, Content Manager at Recruit CRM, and I will be your host and moderator today. We're going to, we've got an exciting session planned for everybody here today, and I'm happy to see that a lot of people have already joined in. And some of you have already introduced yourselves in the chat where you're from, but for whoever hasn't introduced, where they're from and who hasn't said a hi in the chat already, feel free to drop one in the chat box and let us know where you're joining us from. We would love to hear it. And before we dive in, some of you have heard me and Melissa speak already. Can you guys give a quick thumbs up in the chat if you can hear and see us clearly? If there's any audio issues or video issues before we start. I won't be able to see the chat directly, so is it all good?
Yep.
Yep. All right, looks good. All right, let me move on to the next slide. Okay. A quick introduction about us, Recruit CRM. Recruit CRM is a next-gen ATS plus CRM software. We're serving over 115 customers, over 1,500 customers in 100 plus countries with a global team of 200 plus experts. And our software speeds up business development, simplifies recruitment processes, and smart workflow automation, and boosts your daily productivity. So that's a little bit about Recruit CRM. All right. Now we will quickly go over the main agenda of our session today. First, we'll explore the key recruitment trends shaping 2025 and what they mean for you. Next, we will share the proven strategies to help you hit your hiring goals with confidence. Then Melissa will break down some of the biggest hiring myths in a fun myth-busting session where she'll be challenging some common recruitment misconceptions. So be ready for that one. And after that, we'll be opening the floor for a live Q&A where you can get your biggest questions answered. So throughout the session, at any point, if you have any questions, feel free to drop in those questions using the Q&A options on your screen. And for the people watching on LinkedIn and YouTube, you can drop in your questions in the chat and we'll pick them up from there. So we'll try our best to answer as many as possible. And to wrap things up on an exciting note, we also have a special giveaway for one lucky winner. So stick around till the end to find out what the giveaway is and also a chance to win. And now I am thrilled to announce our speaker for the day, Melissa Grabiner. So a lot of you already know who she is, but I'll just give like a formal introduction for Melissa. Melissa is the #1 HR LinkedIn creator in the US, and she's a globally recognized talent acquisition leader with over 20 years of experience in the industry. She's built a community of over 400,000 followers on LinkedIn, and she's helped businesses build data-driven talent functions, optimize hiring processes, and stay ahead with AI-driven hiring and skill-based recruitment. So I would just like to welcome Melissa. Thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my
Uh,
pleasure.
Yes, it's so happy. It's so good to have you here. And I think that's pretty much it from me. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now. And yeah, over to you, Melissa. You can start the session now.
Okay, great. Just make sure I'm sharing this. Oops. I might ask you, you're not able to see the presentation, right?
Not right now.
Do you mind,
Yeah.
I don't see, if you can just, I'm sorry, reshare your screen and then I can just,
Yes. Yes,
okay,
yes.
sorry about that.
And no worries at all. You can stop sharing your screen. I'll share mine.
Oh man, technology is great when it works. It's not great when it doesn't. Thank you, Shavi, so much.
Just give me 1 second. I think I'm on the wrong window. Yes, just give me one quick second. Technical difficulties, am I right? All right, there you go. I'm just gonna put this on slideshow, and yeah. All
Perfect.
right, let's start.
Yeah, and just a quick way of introduction, I'd like to thank Shavi and Recruit CRM for having me on this call. You know, I have worked in talent acquisition for over 2 decades, and I truly believe that Recruit CRM is one of the greatest tools there is for individuals that are in the recruiting space. It's amazing. I've been following Recruit CRM for a really long time on LinkedIn, and you guys keep on raising the bar in terms of the systems that you've created. And it really is a game changer for those that work in the recruiting field. So kudos to you and your entire team on what you've created. Yeah, so just by a quick way of introduction, I'm located in Chicago, Illinois, in the United States. And as Shavi said, I've been in talent acquisition for a little over 2 decades. I spent 18 years at a company called Takeda Pharmaceuticals, which is one of the largest companies in the world, where I was the global director of talent acquisition for our largest business unit across the globe. I had a team of 24 direct reports, and we hired about 3,000 employees a year. And so I was actually laid off from that job when they relocated my position to another part of the country, and I wasn't looking to relocate. So currently, I'm a job search coach. I coach individuals who are looking for help with their resumes, LinkedIn profiles, job search strategies, and interview prep. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I've met some wonderful people through the platform like Shavi, and I'm really grateful to LinkedIn for connecting us. And again, very, very much appreciate you having me, and excited to talk about our topic today.
Yeah, all right.
All righty. So I wanted to go over some of the major numbers that's shaping what is, we're already almost 2 months done into the year 2025. One thing that I have seen absolutely is the change of AI as it relates to hiring. And roughly 2/3 of companies will boost their investments in AI for hiring. We're going to talk a little bit further about this topic. It doesn't surprise me that we're at 2/3 here, because AI can do so many great things for hiring in terms of improving the candidate experience, saving time on the recruiter's end, and just making sure we have really the best hires for our positions. 40%, so roughly half of the workforce, will prioritize flexibility and remote work while looking for jobs. So, as you all remember, when COVID hit, which was about 5 years ago already, the world of work really changed, and a lot more companies were starting to embrace remote workers. But what's happening as time is progressing, we're seeing more and more companies that are now on the hybrid model, or are actually demanding that their employees come back to the office full time. I think that the companies that win the war for talent will be the ones that do prioritize flexibility in remote work, because I think, most job seekers and even employees have spoken, and it's pretty loud and clear that flexibility does matter. So I really, really do hope that we see this 40% increase over time. I think the companies that are able to both hire and retain the best talent will need to prioritize flexibility and or remote work for their workforce. So 50%, roughly half of the US workforce, is expected to be freelancers by 2027. I personally have seen a huge uptick in freelancers. And as a matter of fact, for a lot of the positions that I recruit for, because I also do talent acquisition consulting, it is very, very true that many of the people that apply to the jobs that I'm hiring for are currently freelancers. I know there's a platform called Fiverr and Upwork. I actually had my LinkedIn banner created by someone I met on Fiverr. And so these are all freelancers that have gotten out of the, I guess, corporate America full-time employee and are now working for themselves. So 60%, a little over half of enterprises will rely on data for smarter hiring decisions. I think this is absolutely the way to go, and this is why I love Recruit CRM. Data tells a story, right? Data, if pulled correctly, doesn't lie. And having the data to provide that allows us to have smarter hiring decisions is absolutely the way that companies are progressing, because all companies want to make sure that they're hiring the best talent and they're hiring talent that will ideally be with the organization for a long time to come. So 83%, roughly 4/5 of candidates, are still looking for a clear and structured hiring process. I see a lot of posts on LinkedIn about candidate ghosting and companies that are taking months and months to make hiring decisions. I talk a lot on LinkedIn and I post a lot about the candidate experience and how important I really believe it is. And I believe truly that all candidates deserve to have a clear and structured process, as well as a process that is quick, seamless, and timely. 24%, roughly 1 out of 4 companies report that finding the right skills is their top hiring challenges. I absolutely understand this and do believe this statistic to be true. Finding the right skills is imperative and paramount to ensure that you're hiring the right people. Working in HR for many, many years, I can attest firsthand how costly turnover is. So if you're hiring the right skills, that makes absolutely the most sense and really is a part of a huge top hiring challenge that, companies are currently facing. Okay. Great. So the top 6 recruitment trends of the year, absolutely AI and automation. I mean, we keep hearing more and more about AI. It was interesting when I started in recruiting. Things were so different back then. Prior, LinkedIn wasn't really a thing, and the 2 main job boards were Monster, and if you all remember Career Builder and Hot Jobs. Now we have LinkedIn, and we have so many other specific job boards and automation, right? When I started, the applicant tracking systems that I used aren't even in existence today. I remember I used an ATS called Brass Ring, and I think the company doesn't even exist. And so we didn't have automation. Everything was really still manual, but now there are so many sophisticated databases like Recruit CRM that help you automate your recruiting, which makes things so much quicker for recruiters and turns into a better hiring and candidate experience for our job seekers. And then, of course, data-driven hiring. Like I said earlier, data tells a really compelling story and data doesn't lie, right? So when you have data-driven hiring decisions, such as where is the data of where our top performers come from, that's an example of data-driven hiring and why companies are starting to really, really embrace that. Hiring for skills, right? So I post a lot on LinkedIn about, many, many jobs can be taught, but there's certain jobs that you really need to hire for skills. So for example, if a company is hiring a computer scientist, it's not enough for someone to have a good work ethic or a positive attitude. They really have to have the skills to be able to be successful in that role. So I think as time progresses, more and more companies are really looking to hire people that have the skills related to the duties and responsibilities of the job. And the gig economy, I think that the gig economy will continue beyond 2025. I mean, currently right now, I'm a gig worker. I was at a corporation, like I said earlier, for 18 years. And when I got laid off, I decided that I wanted to work for myself. And I am part of that gig economy. Many candidates that apply to the roles that I'm recruiting for my clients are also part of the gig economy. And I do think that this is only going to increase as time progresses. So the next one, candidate experience, is something that is incredibly near and dear to my heart. I post about this all the time on LinkedIn. I hear a lot of horror stories about how candidates are treated during the hiring process. And I do believe there's a strong correlation in terms of the candidate experience and the employee experience. So companies that get the candidate experience right and really care about how they're treating their candidates typically are those companies that really care about how they're treating their employees. And so what I always suggest to my clients is that if you're going through the interview process and you're not treated well as a candidate, that's somewhat of a red flag, because how are they going to treat you as an employee? And then, of course, we have platforms like Recruit CRM that really help drive that candidate experience and the importance of it. And then, of course, we have hybrid work models, right? So again, when COVID hit about 5 years ago, the world seemed to really shift to a remote sort of workplace. Now we are seeing more and more companies asking employees to work out of the office. And so we're seeing a shift in terms of hybrid, so employees have that flexibility. A lot of companies that I'm aware of offer like 3 days in office, 2 days remote. We're also seeing a lot of companies that were at one point 100% remote, now scaling back to that hybrid work model. Employees have a voice and it's loud and clear, and most employees prefer to work hybrid or remote. And I think that trend is only going to continue as we embark on the remaining year of 2025. Okay. How can you leverage these things? You can go back. Sorry. How can you leverage these trends to take your hiring game to the next level? Let's find out. All right. Another AI and hiring conversation. Trust me, this is worth your while. Love the emoji or the picture there. So we would love to ask the audience, where do you use AI the most in your recruitment process?
Yes. For the people watching on Zoom, the poll should pop up on your screens. Yeah, it's right there. And for the people watching on LinkedIn and YouTube, we're dropping the poll and the options in the chat. And what you can do is you can just copy paste the option that you want to choose in the chat itself. And that's how we're going to conduct the poll there. So we'll just leave this on for a couple of seconds, like around 20 to 30 seconds, and then we'll show the results on the screen. All right. Yeah, I think a lot of people would have answered by now. Should we close the poll? Yeah, all right, let's do it. Let's just quickly see the results. Yeah, there you go.
Yep. So this is actually not surprising to me. It looks like almost half of you use AI for resume screening and candidate matching. 1 out of 5 use chatbots. 1 out of 5 use AI to source candidates and outreach automation. Roughly 1/3 use AI for interview scheduling and assessment, and roughly 1/4 other. Hey,
Yeah, all right. People who've chosen other, you can drop your answer in the chat itself. Like what else you've been using AI for, and yeah, let's move on.
okay. So AI can help, but only if you use it in the right way. And so what we want to talk about now are some smart ways to make AI work for you. So the first thing I want to talk about briefly is using AI to assess candidate skills and match them to the roles based on real data. I think this starts with gathering data about the candidate. So this can include their resume, their LinkedIn profile, and then we match that with the data of the role. So in other words, the job description, the department structure, perhaps the team structure, the company culture and values, any of the required competencies, which I believe would include hard and soft skills, and then of course, metrics and KPI. And then we have skills assessments. So AI systems, the sophisticated ones, can automatically extract key data from resumes and LinkedIn profiles using what's called NLP, which is also known as natural language processing. And then AI can also run skill assessments, and that may include automated skill extractions from the resumes or the job descriptions, and skills mapping, which is matching a candidate's known skills. So maybe that's like Python, SQL with the role requirements. And then once that skills data is extracted, in my mind, the next step is using machine learning. A lot of the sophisticated systems have this, where they have these matching algorithms to match candidates to the roles. And then AI can use historical data to predict how well a candidate might perform in a particular role. And then, of course, we have the feedback loop and continuous learning. AI models, the way I see it, need to be consistently updated with new data to improve their performance. So in other words, performance tracking, reinforcement learning, where a model can continuously adapt to changing requirements and new data to enhance future hiring decisions. And then, of course, I can't, mention this topic without talking about the candidate experience. What I really love about AI is that it can help in this area. So this could be personalized job recommendations to candidates. AI, a lot of these tools can do some interviewing scheduling, and then of course, bias reduction. So when properly trained, AI systems can help reduce unconscious biases in hiring by really focusing more on those objective skills data rather than personal characteristics such as someone's age, gender, or even ethnicity. And then, of course, we have the cognitive as AI. So some systems that are sophisticated can simulate human-like reasoning, making it possible to analyze cultural fit, leadership potential, and even problem-solving skills based on any sort of non-traditional data sources. And then the next bucket we have is optimizing your job postings with AI. And this is to ensure that they're inclusive, optimized, and clearly worded. I think the benefit of this is by doing this, it can significantly improve the recruiting process, right? So when you talk about ensuring inclusivity, it's AI tools can make job postings more inclusive by perhaps identifying biased language, promoting equal opportunity, having like the equal opportunity employer note at the bottom of a job description, and even using gender neutral terminology, right? So instead of using he or she, they can use they. So instead of saying like salesman, it can say sales representative. And then, of course, optimizing for SEO, right? SEO stands for optimization of search engines. So there are a lot of systems that do what's called keyword optimization, where AI can analyze a job description and then recommend relevant keywords that potential candidates might be searching for. So this could be like industry-specific terms, skills, or even job titles that are aligned with what the job seeker are using in their search queries. And then, of course, we have to talk about ensuring clear and effective language. So a lot of these AI systems can enhance the clarity and effectiveness of job descriptions by simplifying complex wording, improving the structure, and having a better flow in those job postings. And then, of course, actionable job requirements. So it's important that a job description is focused on those actionable and specific tasks and responsibilities, making it clear to the job seeker what the candidate will actually be doing in the role. And then, of course, we have to talk about tone and clarity and readability. So we have tools like Grammarly, which helps refine and simplify job postings by checking for grammar, readability, and clarity. And then, of course, we have the improving engagement and candidate attraction. So AI has the power to create compelling job descriptions, highlighting the company culture, which is so important these days to so many job seekers. And then certainly optimizing for mobile. I think a large number of job seekers are not applying to jobs on their desktop. They're applying to jobs on their mobile phones. And what AI can do is it can help ensure that the JDs are optimized for that mobile viewing. And then I think the third bucket we can talk about is creating customized reports and dashboards with AI. And this again goes back to what we talked about a little bit earlier with data-backed hiring decisions. So I really am a big fan of data. Data doesn't lie, right? And so when you have data collection, it helps you create customizable reports, dashboards. Data from resumes and applications and candidate statuses can be pulled from applicant tracking systems. These systems also can pull employee performance data, recruiting analytics such as time to hire, cost per hire, source per hire, and candidate engagement. And then AI-driven data analytics is important too because it helps for coming up with your recruiting data, right? So you can talk about talent sourcing insights. It can help analyze which sources we're getting candidates from. Are they the job boards? Are they internal referrals? Are they social media? And it provides us with the best quality candidates and tracking where those successful hires come from. And then, of course, candidate matching, which is something that I really love. There are AI tools out there that can compare job descriptions against candidate profiles to predict how well a candidate matches the job description. And then it scores those candidates based on their skills and experience and likelihood of success in the role. And then let's talk about utilizing AI-driven chatbots. So chatbots, I don't know how many of you on the call have used chatbots. I think they're very, very interesting and they're becoming more and more prevalent. I am a fan of chatbots. I know LinkedIn, whenever I need help on LinkedIn, I'm always using a chatbot. I think that's their first line of defense. But what a chatbot does is it tries to personalize initial interactions in the recruiting process. And it really is a great way to enhance the candidate engagement and experience as well as streamline communication. So what I have noticed from my experience with chatbots is, again, they can act as a first point of contact for candidates when they go to a job portal or a website. So chatbots have the capability to welcome candidates in a friendly conversational manner, really setting the tone for a positive interaction. Chatbots are sophisticated in answering FAQs, right? So they can automatically respond to FAQs about the job or the position or the company culture or the benefits and even the application process. Chatbots also can provide personalized job recommendations. So based on the candidate's previous interactions or their resume or LinkedIn profiles, chatbots can then recommend roles that can match the skills, experience, and preferences. So a chatbot might say, I see you have experience in marketing. Would you be interested in our digital marketing manager role? And a way a lot of recruiters use chatbots is in their screening process. So chatbots can be tailored to for those pre-screening questions, right? So in other words, a chatbot might come out and say, what programming languages are you proficient in? Have you worked with agile methodologies? And then based on the responses, this chatbots can then match the candidate's skills and experience to the actual job requirements. So again, based on your experience with Python, for example, you're a strong candidate for our software engineering role. And then chatbots also can provide real-time feedback and communication. So after an initial interaction, a chatbot can provide real-time feedback, which makes the candidate feel valued and really helps with the candidate experience. So in other words, thanks for your response. You meet all the qualifications for the role. We'll reach out soon about next steps. There are chatbots that actually do the scheduling of the interviews, that do the automation follow-up with candidates, and really personalize the experience based on the candidate profile. So I am a big fan of chatbots. I don't think that it should take away from the actual human element of recruiting because I think that's always going to be important. But a lot of times candidates can get their questions answered, certainly by chatbots. Okay. And then integrating with job boards to automatically match candidate profiles to open positions. So AI, one of the beauties of AI is allowing to have integration of AI with job boards, again, to automatically match candidate profiles to open positions. And I think this could really revolutionize the recruiting process by enhancing efficiency and then improving candidate experience, improving the candidate fit for the job, and then reducing time to hire. We also have something called, or AI has something called AI-powered candidate profile parsing. So what AI does is it parses candidates' profiles. Maybe it's their LinkedIn profile, maybe it's their resume, maybe it's an application form, and then it extracts meaningful information such as their work experience, their education, even their certifications. And some of the benefits of this is accurate and comprehensive data extractions from resumes and profiles. And then what AI can do is it can create a structured candidate profile that are easy to compare and match to the job postings. So I think that's a really cool thing as well. So yeah, integrating AI with job boards to automatically match candidate profile to open positions is a game changer for recruiting. Recruiters like me who are so busy, who have so many requisitions at any given time, anytime I can use technology to help make my job more efficient and effective is something that I welcome with open arms. I think the key is to make sure that we don't lose sight of the candidate experience. And so I think that technology could be great, but I think it's really important that companies don't lose sight that candidates really do deserve to have a great candidate experience, because they'll be more prone to want to join your company and more prone to tell others about their great experience as well. Okay. Now let's talk about hybrid work, because most of us wish for a setup like this every day. This is actually what I look like during my days. I am on my stomach on my computer. So this actual picture hits home with me. Okay. So we have a 5-step framework to promote this work model. So the first is defining the hybrid flexibility clearly. What exactly does this mean? How many days in the office versus how many days remote? And then, of course, for anyone who is working outside of the office, it's important that those teams are equipped with the right tools and technology. I am a big fan of hybrid work and remote work. And when I was managing a team, I had 24 direct reports. We worked a hybrid model. And my big thing was I didn't care about how often my employees worked. What I cared was about the outcomes. Were their hiring managers happy? Were their candidates happy? Was the work getting done? I am not a clock watcher. I don't believe that micromanagement should be a thing. I think we're all adults here. And so what I've always truly believed is focusing on outcomes, not hours worked. And I think that helps make the hybrid work more successful. And then building a strong onboarding process, right? It's really important that when companies hire employees, they are set up to succeed and they are not set up to fail. This all has to do with their onboarding process. The stronger the onboarding, the better the chance that the employee will succeed, and the better the chance that that would reduce turnover. And then set up timely check-ins and stay on top of communication. So when I was managing a team, I had a monthly one-on-one with every one of my direct reports. I was an open door policy. They can come to me at any time they needed anything. And I always made sure to stay on top to make sure that even though we might not all be in the office at the same time, I am here whenever you need me. And that really helps to promote and enhance a hybrid work model. All right. So I've talked about this a couple times and I will say it again. Candidate experience is the real most valuable player. Candidate experience is what candidates deserve to have a great experience. And we have sites like Glassdoor. When employees or candidates are treated poorly, they are more prone to go on these sites like Glassdoor and talk about their negative experiences or positive experiences. And in order to hire the best talent, candidate experience has to happen, right? Especially for these candidates that have a lot of different opportunities available. Most likely they're going to go to the one in part that treated them really, really well during the recruitment process. Here's a quote that I have said. If you're viewing people as a placement, a fee, a resource, a talent, a candidate, or anything other than a human being, you're doing our industry and your colleagues a disservice. There are people behind those resumes. There are people that have families and feelings and hopes and dreams. People are not a commodity. People are human beings, and how you treat them as an employee and as a candidate makes all the difference in the world. All righty. So in order to have a good candidate experience, providing updates on next steps and timelines. Whenever I speak to a candidate, as part of that conversation, at the end of the conversation, I always talk about here's the timeline of our recruiting process, and here's when you can expect to hear back from me. And here is an outline of the rest of the process. So in other words, you're going to speak with the hiring manager, then we're going to have you come in and have a panel interview. I never want my candidates to guess. I always want to make sure they understand exactly what the time frame is going to be. Because in fairness to the candidate, that is what they deserve. And then, of course, respecting their time. A smooth candidate experience makes them feel appreciated, creating a positive impression of both you and the client. Making the interview a conversation. When I coach job seekers, what I always say to them is a conversation or an interview should never be an interrogation, right? Nobody has the upper hand. As much as a company is interviewing you, you in turn are interviewing the company. So when I speak with my candidates, what I always say to my candidates is, look, we're just having a conversation. I just want to get to know you. I want to get to know your motivations, your desires, what kind of positions you're looking for. Tell me a little bit about your career aspirations. To me, no one has the upper hand. A candidate can decline us as much as we can decline the candidate. And regarding tests, I think for technical assessments, they're fine. I am not a fan of take-home assignments. I don't think it's fair for candidates to have to do that. And my rule of thumb is that if you are being asked to do a take-home assignment and it's going to take you longer than 30 minutes, my personal opinion is it's probably best to walk away. I don't feel anybody should have to work for free. And I think it's important that we always treat candidates with empathy. Searching for a job is hard. Searching for a job is stressful. And we want to put ourselves in the shoes of the job seeker and treat them the way we would want to be treated. And then, of course, offering feedback that is helpful. So don't just say we're moving forward, or we're moving forward with or not moving forward with you, or we're moving forward with another candidate. I am a big fan of giving candidates actionable feedback. So if we're not moving forward with you, here's why. And here's how I believe, from my perspective, you might be able to enhance your future interviews with additional companies moving forward. Help them grow, help them develop. If a candidate takes the time to interview, I think we deserve to give them that feedback. And then build anticipation for the offer. Keep the candidates engaged by sharing information about the culture of the company, the dynamics of the team, the role's impact. So how does this role fit into the bigger picture of the organization? What is the work culture like? Are employees friendly? What are our employee benefits? You want to get candidates excited to say yes to an offer should you extend that offer of employment. And always close on a good note. So whether the candidate accepts it or not, you always want to thank them for their time with a personalized email. Applicant tracking systems can do that. Recruit CRM can do it. But having a personalized email can make all the difference in the world. And then follow up with intent, whether it's a quick email, it's a quick LinkedIn message. Stay in touch with candidates who impressed you. I cannot tell you how many people I have hired over the years who I previously took a pass on, but then contacted again when we had a future opening that they were a better fit for. So that is another reason why you want to leave a favorable impression. If a candidate feels that they have a bad taste in their mouth with how they were treated, then they're probably not going to want to work for you in the future. But you want to leave on a really good note, because you never know when there might be a future position that is a perfect fit for that individual. You've got the candidates hooked. Now let's talk about the gig economy and how it's shaping the workforce. Let's take a poll first before we proceed. What's the biggest challenge you face when hiring freelancers? We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, the option should be on your screen now. Yeah. Is it finding qualified talent? Is it managing remote communication, setting clear expectations, or ensuring timely payment? And same as before, we're dropping the poll and the options in the chats on YouTube and LinkedIn. So you can again choose the option that you want to select, copy paste it, and drop it in the chat as your answer. All right. Yeah, I think we can close the poll now. All right, let's see the results. There you go.
Yep. So 64%, roughly 2/3, finding qualified talent. Doesn't surprise me. 14% managing remote communication and coordination. 27%, roughly 1 out of 4, setting clear expectations. And then 5% ensuring timely payment. Thank you, everyone, for participating.
All right, let's move on.
Okay. So here's how we can overcome these issues. So let's start with the challenge number 1, finding qualified talent. Leverage niche platforms like Upwork, build a solid talent pool, and vet through real world tasks. So like I said earlier, I hired someone on Fiverr, which is a competitor of Upwork's, to create my LinkedIn banner. So there are a ton of great people on platforms like Upwork where you could read reviews. The gentleman who did mine had over 1,000 positive reviews, and so I knew I was hiring the right person. Managing remote communication, using collaboration tools like Slack, set strict communication guidelines, and schedule regular or weekly check-ins. So like I said, when I was managing a team, I met with each direct report once a month, and then I had weekly team calls with all 25 of us. Having that ongoing communication really helped. And then setting clear expectations. You want to document everything. You want to onboard effectively, which helps to enhance any sort of longevity or tenure with your employees. And then, of course, maintaining flexibility. And then ensure timely payment. You want to use reliable platforms like PayPal, set payment terms up front, and automate invoicing and reminders. Just makes everyone's life so much easier. Okay. So as the gig work grows, it's clear skills over degrees is the way forward. I can tell you from my own experience, hiring hundreds and hundreds of people over the years, is that I believe in my heart that most skills can be taught. Unless you're an attorney, unless you're a doctor, and let's say you're a computer scientist, most skills can be taught, right? Or cannot. Most skills can not be taught. Sorry, most skills can be taught. It's the degrees. I would rather hire for skills over degrees. I think that is the way forward. Okay. And it's just about a quick mindset shift. So focus on skills. Shift your hiring criteria to prioritize real skills over academic qualifications. I have hired hundreds of people over the years that did not have degrees, but they have the right skills for the job, and they turned out to be stellar employees. And then look for potential, not credentials. So hire based on problem-solving ability, the willingness to learn. I think high EQ is really important. You want to hire people that have high EQ, that are hard workers, that are a good cultural fit. If someone has the potential to learn, grow, and develop into the role and into the organization, those are the types of employees that I prefer to hire. And then build strong candidate networks. Actively engage and nurture a network of skilled candidates and keep them ready for future roles. A lot of companies call this candidate pipelining. And most applicant tracking systems, to include RecruitRM, have ways that you can nurture candidates and keep them ready in the platform in the event that you have future roles where you can find individuals that would be a great fit for those positions. And then test real world abilities, right? Use skill assessments to evaluate how candidates actually perform, not just what's on their resume. A resume is a piece of paper, a resume is words, right? But if you give them a skill assessment that is pertinent to the job, that's how you can evaluate if they actually can perform the role that you're looking to hire them for. And then consider hiring non-traditional talent. Open your process to recruit from boot camps where you can get talent with unique skills. I've hired a lot of people from internships, right? People that have interned at the companies that I do consulting with. We've hired a ton of people that started as interns, learned the ropes, learned about the organization and the culture, didn't necessarily apply to a position once their internship was done, but then we would call them back and say, you did a great job during the internship. We'd love to have you come on board as a full-time employee. And then again, using freelancers for specialized skills. So take help from the gig economy for on-demand expertise without the need of long-term commitment. More and more companies, as time progresses, are hiring freelancers. The benefits are they don't have to pay for employee benefits. They can hire freelancers on a project basis and for short-term durations. And I think that's why more and more people are really part of this gig economy and are becoming freelancers. And also a lot of freelancers don't want a full-time job anymore. They don't want to work at one organization. They want to work across multiple organizations and for multiple people. So I think hiring gig workers is a win-win, I think, for them and for organizations. All right. So we've grasped the key trends. Now it's time to learn how to take data-driven hiring decisions. All righty. So metrics. I think this is something that all talent acquisition professionals have seen. Here are the top 10 hiring metrics. So the first one is called time to hire. Applicant tracking systems, and of course, Recruit CRM, what we do is we track the time from when someone applies to a job to the time they accept the offer, again, using an ATS to track that information. And then cost. I think more and more companies are really focusing on the cost per hire. This can include ads. This can include using search firms. This can include using different tools and calculate the total spend per hire using applicant tracking systems. I think as more and more companies are becoming lean, they're trying to spend less and less money on recruiting. So the cost per hire is probably one of the most important statistics that business leaders really care about. Candidate quality score, using custom skills tests and scoring templates to rate candidates during those assessments. And then offer acceptance rate. This is very important. Tracking candidates' responses to automated follow-up emails, logging the reasons if they accept or if they reject. I think a story could really be told here, right? So if you have 10 candidates that decline an offer for the same reason, maybe there's a problem with the company culture, maybe there's a problem with the recruiting process, but you can really learn a lot and make some very valuable changes, understanding why candidates have rejected your offer. And then source of hire, assign tracking codes to each sourcing channel to identify top performers. So if you have 10 top performers, where do they come from? Were they from search firms? Were they from LinkedIn? Were they from Indeed? Were they from a job fair? Were they from an employer referral? Source of hire is really a great tool to find out if most of our successful hires are from this source, maybe we should really engage and use that source more moving forward. And then, of course, we have the interview to offer ratio, using automated scheduling tools like a Recruit CRM to track interviews and analyze the conversion rates of how many of those interviews actually turned into a job offer. Diversity. So I'm sure you've all heard there's a lot of news lately with the federal government getting rid of their DEI efforts in the United States, but I do believe diversity is very important. Companies are collecting demographic data at each stage using survey tools that typically are anonymous responses. I'm a big fan of diversity. I think companies that have diversity in gender and race and ethnicity really create the strongest teams. Candidate Net Promoter Score, this is also known as NPS, sending candidate satisfaction surveys to measure how likely they are to recommend your process. This goes back to the candidate experience. If a candidate is treated poorly during the process, chances are they're going to have negative scores on your candidate satisfaction survey, thus also having the ability to tarnish a company's reputation in the marketplace. Hiring manager satisfaction, this one to me is very important, using surveys to give to your hiring managers to evaluate how they felt you did as a partner during the hiring process. And then first-year attrition rate, track exit interviews and turnover reports to measure first-year attrition, and if employees are leaving, what are their reasons for departure? So again, in summary, these are the 10 key hiring metrics. I think we'll continue to see these metrics be of importance as we continue in the year 2025. All right. What else to keep in mind? Start small, scale smartly. Rather than trying to track everything at once, start with a few key metrics that are important to your business leaders, like time to hire or candidate quality, to avoid having just a huge dump of data overload. Focus on the insights that are the most important to you and your company, and knowing that you can always change what those priorities are at any given time. Number two, combining qualitative and quantitative data. So don't only rely on the numbers, combine the time to hire, the cost per hire. Those are considered more quantitative data with that qualitative insights. What is the feedback from our candidates? What is the feedback from our hiring managers? And how satisfied were they with the recruiting process? And then automate data collection for continuous improvement using ATS like a Recruit CRM to track those candidate sources, to track those response rates. You can also set up custom reports to identify trends and adjust your strategic or strategy as soon as you want to or immediately. Okay. So here are the top 6 takeaways from today's session. The first is using AI and automation to accelerate screening and improve the quality of your hiring decisions. Tailor your recruitment process to seamlessly handle both remote and in-office candidates. Ensure your hiring process is quick, transparent, and respectful of candidates' time to create a better experience. This one is probably the most important one to me. Build a reliable network of freelancers to tap into flexible, high-quality talent. Again, Upwork and Fiverr are two of the most probably well-used network of freelancers out there. And then shift the focus from degrees to skills, using assessments to accurately match candidates to the right roles. And then data. Love data. Data tells a great story. Harness that data to always refine and optimize your strategy at every step of the way.
All right. Well, yeah, thank you so much, Melissa. That was absolutely incredible. But we have so much of the session still left. Before we continue, before we move on to the very exciting stuff, we want to quickly show you, like we've covered a lot of ground on hiring trends and strategies with Melissa right now. We want to quickly take like just 3 to 4 minutes to show you how Recruit CRM can help you take things to like another level. And we have Ankit here, our Associate Director of Sales, with us today. And he will just quickly walk you through some of our top features in Recruit CRM that can help you stay ahead of the competition, ahead of the game in 2025 and beyond this as well. So Ankit, over to you. I'll keep sharing my screen, and you can just cover these features one by one.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you, Chavi. Happy to be here. So let me talk to you more about how Recruit CRM can be used today by recruiters and leverage AI and automation in almost every step of the process. So the first one is LinkedIn messaging integration. So it can basically help you track and sync up your LinkedIn messages across all of your connections within Recruit CRM itself. And Chavi, would you mind if I share my screen quickly and then show you?
Yes, yeah.
I'll just spend a few minutes on this, but it will help you get more context on how you
Yeah.
can use Recruit CRM today. So I hope you guys can see the screen. But say, for example, if you are on LinkedIn trying to talk to someone, not only can you use that extension to bring that person's information inside Recruit CRM as a candidate or as a client inside the system, we can actually also help you sync up your LinkedIn account, and you can actually access the entire chat history that you have exchanged with that candidate inside Recruit CRM itself. So not only do you have that contextual information, you can actually also check if anyone else in your team also exchange messages with that candidate or client within your database. So that gives you access to more information so that you can take that next step with, a lot better. And on top of that, we are also leveraging GPT to actually give you access to AI across different steps of your process, especially when it comes to conversations. So say when it comes to sending an email quickly, you can use AI to actually draft an email using GPT. There are some pre-built prompts given to you, which you can leverage, or you can use your own prompts if you want to help you save time, create that perfect email, and then send that over. You can actually also use a calling functionality to not only make phone calls from the system, we can even record those conversations inside the database and also generate a transcript of it. On top of it, you can use AI to even summarize that conversation for you, so you don't have to take up the time to manually summarize that long conversation that you may have had with a particular candidate or client. Now, we also use AI in creating like candidate summaries. So if you are on someone's profile, you can actually use AI to create a quick summary of that individual, and then personalize it with your own branding. So what you're basically doing is creating a custom resume within Recruit CRM that you can further share with your customers and gives you more context on what is going on, right? Now, apart from that, you can also connect Recruit CRM with different applications using workflow automation, right? So you may be using different tools like Slack for internal communication, QuickBooks to generate invoices, or DocuSign, right? You can actually connect and integrate Recruit CRM with those applications very easily using a workflow automation feature and using this very easy to use visual builder. So, and you can be very creative when it comes to setting up these processes, right? So for example, if you want to make sure that no candidate is stuck in any stage in the hiring process, you can have an automation where whenever that happens for a particular period of time, it will automatically send a Slack notification to your team or to a particular recruiter to make sure that everyone is proactive, everybody knows exactly what's going on. You also actually get access to a bunch of tools that you can integrate with, and also have pre-built recipes that you can utilize. So if you want to integrate with DocuSign, you can actually have automations pre-built that you can simply use across your workflows and automate your process. And initially, if at any point you feel this is technical for you, we also have you also have access to a support team. You can actually book as many sessions with us, especially on AI and automation, so that we can understand exactly what kind of workflows you want and help you figure that out. And you can have as many sessions. By the way, this is default service across to all of our customers. And like Melissa was talking about data-backed hiring decisions and data-backed measurements, you can actually use advanced analytics in Recruit CRM to not only make sure that things are done, your strategies are in place, but how well is that working out for you? So you can create custom KPIs, custom reports to track all of your performance metrics across your entire team, and also have automations in place to share those reports on a regular basis, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to your across your team and across stakeholders, so that everybody is on top of exactly what they want to work on, what should be their priorities, and work accordingly, right? So you have a bunch of options available within Recruit CRM and more that leverages AI and automation. And we also, by the way, give you access to a free trial so you can actually access all of these features and test it out. And of course, would love to kind of walk you through more information about Recruit CRM over a demo, if that is the case. But yeah, that's about it for a quick overview. Over to you, Chavi.
All right, thank you so much, Ankit. So like Ankit just mentioned, that if you would like to check out, let me just quickly share my screen again. Yeah, so if you'd like, if you would like to check out these features and more live for yourself and see how they fit into your recruitment process, we would be more than happy to give you a free demo, and you can also sign up for our product for free. We have a no commitment, unlimited free trial as well. So no strings attached at all. So you can sign up for either of these options, and the link should be in the chat now. Yeah. All right. Before we call it a day, one final poll. Yeah, let's just take a quick poll before we close things and before we move to the more exciting stuff. So yeah, the question is, how often do you use RecTech tools in your daily recruiting process? And we have like 5 options here in front of you. We'll leave this on for a couple of seconds. And this poll is actually, this question is actually a part of a bigger survey that we're conducting across recruiters from all over the world. And if you take this survey, if you take some time, if you take just 5 minutes out to fill out the survey, it has 15 questions. You would be helping with a huge primary research that we're conducting. And as a reward for filling out the survey, we're also giving away a bundled ebook. It has 3 exclusive hiring ebooks that we're giving away to all the people who fill out this survey. So yeah, it would be super helpful if you help us out with this particular survey here as well. We're dropping the link of this survey as well in the chat right now for you to engage with. All right, let's close the poll. All right, let's quickly see the results. All right, looks like 43% of the people say that they use RecTech tools every day. And yeah, some people, 29% say that they never use it. All right, cool. Let's move on. All right, so now we're moving on to our myth busting session. Melissa, are you ready?
Yep. So
all right,
here are some top myths. Hybrid work isn't as productive as in-office work. I absolutely think that is a myth. I am fully remote. I have never been more productive. I don't have the distractions of people coming by my desk for 5 minutes and it turns into an hour. But yeah, I always say I work harder and longer being remote. And even when I was working hybrid, I was way more productive. Freelancers are always more expensive. I would say that is absolutely untrue. Part of the reason companies hire freelancers is because they don't have to pay for employee benefits, which is usually, depending on salary, an additional 25 to 30% a cost incurred for employers based on those employee benefits. So freelancers are absolutely more cost effective. I hear this a lot. AI will replace recruiters in the next 10 years. I disagree with this. I think AI will replace some of the duties and functions of recruiters, but recruiters are always going to be needed. And there's nothing like that personal touch, which I think sometimes only recruiters can give. Only people with a degree can be qualified for higher level roles. I know so many people who are senior vice presidents, executive vice presidents, high up in the company that don't have a degree. Their companies don't care because they have such strong work experience. So I absolutely think this is a myth, 100%. And I say this from my own experience of hiring just hundreds and hundreds of people a year. You can't trust remote workers to get their job done without supervision. I always say that if a manager can't trust their people, then they shouldn't hire them in the first place. If you hire your team and you treat them like the adults that they are, there's no reason not to trust them unless they start giving you a reason not to. And then data-driven recruiting market, recruitment makes hiring impersonal and lacks a human element. I absolutely think this is false. Data-driven recruitment is what helps with the hiring manager experience, the candidate experience, helps even save on costs. So there is so much value in using data-driven hiring. And it does not have to be impersonal at all. And then hiring for cultural fit means hiring people who are just like your existing team. As I talked about earlier, diversity is always the way to go, but hiring for cultural fit means they are agreeing in the values and the mission. But hiring for cultural fit absolutely does not mean you're hiring people who are just like the people you already have.
All right, thank you so much, Melissa. Well, we're now transitioning into our Q&A session, so it's time to address any questions that anybody has. And there's a Q&A option on your screen. You can either drop in the questions using that option or in the chat, and same goes for LinkedIn and YouTube. If there's anything throughout the discussion today that sparked your curiosity, feel free to drop in the questions, and Melissa will try to answer as many as possible. So we actually do have a couple of questions which we've already received. So I'm just gonna read them out loud to you, Melissa. The first one is, what advice would you give to recruitment professionals looking to stay ahead of the curve in 2025? We've got this from Manish on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think the first thing is, so I don't know how many of you are members of SHRM, which is the Society of HR Management. I'm a member of SHRM, and they have this whole bunch of information on their website for TA professionals. So I would say either being a member of SHRM, reading articles, you can do Google searches about top trends or how to stay ahead of the curve if you're in recruiting. But I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn following thought leaders in talent acquisition. So if someone wants to find out who those thought leaders are that I follow, feel free to send me a message on LinkedIn and I can let you know. But I probably follow, I'd say 10 to 12 people in talent acquisition that I really respect that are considered thought leaders. And their posts always come up on my feed, and I learn a lot from them. And I also do just regular Google searches, like once in a while, say what are the top recruiting trends currently happening, or what are some changes that are coming down the pipeline for talent acquisition professionals. So just do some good old Google searches. You can ask ChatGPT. I can promise you I use that all the time, and that will give you a lot of really great information. But it's really, I think, following these thought leaders, following companies that are in the TA space. I know Recruit CRM. I know you have a great blog, if I'm not mistaken, that has articles written by thought leaders in TA as well. So I would recommend that as an avenue as well.
All right. We have another question. Any tips on how to convince hiring managers that skills are more important than degrees?
I think a lot of it is just a shift of the way they think. I think a lot of managers are very, very old school, and someone could have all of the experience in the world. Let's say someone worked at Microsoft and they have 10 years at Microsoft at the highest level possible. Like, these are very high level people, but they don't have a degree. Unfortunately, there are people that just do not hire people without degrees. I think it's providing hiring managers with anyone you know that doesn't have a degree that's been successful in their role. If there's anyone at your company currently that is a very high performer that doesn't have a degree, or even send them articles about it. Do a GPT search, do some Google searches to state your case as to why hiring for skills oftentimes is way more important for hiring people that have degrees. It's just a way of changing the mentality and the thinking of these people. And even if you have some data to prove it, and again, you can find some of that data probably on LinkedIn or probably on some Google searches, that's what I would do.
All right. We have another question from Jazem. They're asking, I always send a survey to every candidate to understand their experience, but the response rate is quite low. What methods can we use to encourage candidates to complete the survey?
Yeah, I don't think it's uncommon for the survey feedback to be low, especially if someone is passed over and they're upset about it. They might say, why should I give the company feedback to make things better for them if they're not willing to make me an offer? Typically, what we do for the clients that I support is we send out a survey, and then if we don't hear back, a week later, we send the same survey. And then oftentimes we'll get those answers the second time around. If after the second time they don't complete it, we just assume they're not interested and we let it go. The other thing I would do is I would look on Glassdoor. Now, Glassdoor, I'm sure you've all heard of, it tends to be perhaps more of a negative connotation because typically when people are upset about something, they'll be more prone to write about it versus, oh, I had this great experience. But you can find out a lot of good information on Glassdoor. I am on Glassdoor often. I find it a very interesting website. When I was at that company, Takeda, for 18 years, I would often look at Glassdoor of our reviews because a lot of people wrote reviews about the hiring process. So every month I would read the information sent by the people that were candidates. And then based on that information, we would look at, can we make changes in our process based on what these people are saying? So, I mean, in short, you can't force people to do it. Maybe send them the survey twice. And then the information that you do have, try to actually make changes. I think a lot of people also think that, you know, this is lip service. I could write a survey or fill out a survey, but at the end of the day, the company is not going to make any changes. I think that's a lot of the reason why people are just, they don't want to take the time to do it.
All right, we have another question. Maurice is saying, you mentioned the candidate with experience and skill is the MVP. Is ageism an issue with HR? Why is ghosting of older job applicants with great skills and experience so pervasive?
I'm glad you asked this question, and I post about this all the time on LinkedIn. There is literally nothing that bothers me more than candidate ghosting. I think it is completely rude, unprofessional, and lacks any sort of empathy for what candidates are going through. I think the reason is a couple reasons. I think that there are a lot of companies that have recruiting staffs that are on a skeleton crew, and so a lot of companies have very, very few people that work in the recruiting department, and so their workload is incredibly high. Now, that doesn't necessarily make it right by any means, but I think a lot of companies, it's just not important to them, or their recruiters are so overwhelmed with work that they don't really have the time. To me, that is a lame excuse because applicant tracking systems can very quickly with a click of a button, can send a rejection letter to someone to let them know where they stand. But ghosting is a very, very prevalent problem. This is why I post about this a lot on LinkedIn because it's something that really, really upsets me because I think it is incredibly rude. But I always believe that change has to start from the top. And so, you know, it was interesting. I recently posted that I believe every CEO should apply to a job at their own company under a different name to see what the recruiting process is like for candidates. Change has to start at the top. And if the higher ups at the company, such as the head of HR, the head of recruiting, the CEOs, if they know what the candidate experience is like, and they, again, apply to a job using a different name and they're treated poorly, then I think real change would occur. But it has to be a priority from the top, and then it trickles its way down.
All right, thank you so much, Melissa. We actually have a question regarding Recruit CRM, so Ankit might be able to answer this. We have someone asking how to connect Recruit CRM with their website. And another question that they're asking is that how can Recruit CRM help us with candidates who are not like readily available on LinkedIn? Ankit, would you be able to address this question?
No, absolutely. So in Recruit CRM, when it comes to website integration, there are a couple of ways in which it can be done. So one is the iframe, where you can just have a clear HTML code that you can embed on your website and then publish all the jobs directly onto your website, and be very selective about that as well. In fact, we also have another offering that we have released recently where you can create customized job and careers pages on your website using Recruit CRM. So quickly showing that to you if I can. I'll just
Yes,
my screen.
absolutely.
So this is the new offering that we have for our customers called Recruit Craft, where you can actually create personalized templates and career pages within Recruit CRM. And we also give you access to pre-built templates that you can use to kind of create stunning careers pages. So this is one way to do it. To the second question about how do you take care of sourcing when it comes to not getting enough profiles on LinkedIn. So one is leveraging the database that you already have really well, because many ATS systems do not have the right capability to help you find and shortlist candidates on the basis of that. So in our system, using AI and using advanced search, you can actually use a combination of filters and really find those candidates quickly. We're also going to introduce another feature soon where you can source across an external database and really find relevant candidates that you think is a good fit. So a couple of ways in which that can be done. Would love to walk you through in details over a demo if you have some more time. So highly encourage doing that with us. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ankit. Melissa, we actually have a couple of more questions,
Sure.
but we just have the time to take one more.
Sure.
We have an anonymous attendee asking, don't you think that remote and hybrid work will make the company culture less strong, build less good relationships between coworkers?
Fair question. See where you're coming from, but myself working remote for the last 5 years, I do not believe that to be true. I think it is imperative that a manager gets the team together on Zoom calls and has frequent communication with their employees. I right now do talent acquisition consulting for 2 companies, and one of them is they're both on site, but let me step back. One of the companies I used to recruit for and consult with was 100% remote, and I felt complete connection to every one of those. I think it is up to the leaders of the company to make people feel that they're a part of something bigger and to not feel like their employees are on this island all day working solo. But it's having collaboration, having team building activities. Maybe, once a quarter or once a month, have a 1 hour happy hour online and everyone just doesn't talk about work, but they talk about fun things going on in their life. I actually am a big fan of remote work, and I personally, from my experience working remote 5 years, I don't think it makes employees feel any less a part of something bigger.
I completely
That's just my
agree.
opinion. That's just my opinion.
I completely agree. Even Recruit CRM is entirely remote, and we've all built such great connections working with each other online. And yeah, we do meet once a year, and it's absolutely incredible. All right, thank you so much, Melissa. I think that's all the questions we can take today. And now we're going to move on to something else. Let me quickly share my screen one final time. Okay. So yeah, now coming to what everyone's been waiting for, the giveaway. Let's see what we have lined up here. So thank you to everyone for staying with us till the very end. So out of everybody who's here, we'll have one lucky winner for this giveaway. And here's what you could win. We're giving away an exclusive 1 hour recruitment coaching session with Melissa Grabiner herself. In this one-on-one session, Melissa will help you fine-tune your hiring strategy with a personalized audit of your 2025 recruitment plan. You'll get insider tips to optimize your processes, attract top-tier talent, and leverage AI automation and data for smarter hiring as well. Plus, you'll have the chance to discuss absolutely anything else with her as well that's on your mind. So definitely don't miss out on this opportunity to basically refine your recruitment game with like expert guidance from one of the best person in the industry right now. All right, this will be given to one lucky winner, like I just mentioned, for free. And we'll be doing a raffle draw out of all the attendees present here right now to decide who wins. And we will be announcing the giveaway winner on our LinkedIn company page next week on Monday. And basically, we'll tag you there, tag you in the post, and we'll also be connecting you with Melissa over email. So definitely keep an eye out on our LinkedIn company page to find out if you are the lucky winner. And yeah. All right, before we close, Melissa, I want to quickly ask you, do you have any closing remarks for the audience, for everybody who's joined in and spend their time, listening to us?
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to thank everyone for your time. I really understand that everyone's time is valuable. On LinkedIn, I recruit often about recruiting best practices, candidate experience, job seeker tips and tools, a lot of motivation. So feel free to follow me if you have any questions additional about this during this time that we were not able to answer. Feel free to send me a message on LinkedIn. I would be more than happy to answer it. Again, working in talent acquisition for many, many years, I have come across numerous platforms, and in my heart, I truly believe Recruit CRM is the best tool out there. If I was implementing an ATS for one of my clients, Recruit CRM would be the one I would use in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, thank you so much, Melissa. And I'm pretty sure everybody enjoyed the session today. And yeah, just give me one quick second. Yeah, well, that's it for the session today. Thank you so much to everybody for joining and participating in all of the polls and all of the questions. To learn more about Recruit CRM, you can head over to recruitcrm.io. We're also excited to continue all of these conversations with you over our social media platforms. We're on all of these platforms mentioned on the screen right now, so you can follow us for more interesting discussions. And for weekly discussions on all things recruitment, you can check out Recruit CRM's exclusive content. So we have exclusive content on our website as well. We have a blog page, like Melissa mentioned, where we post content every week. And you can check that out as well. And you can also subscribe to our email newsletter. We send content to you daily and weekly. So yeah, and if you enjoyed today's session, definitely follow Melissa on LinkedIn and also check out her website. She is without a doubt the best in the industry. And yes, he's without a doubt the best in business. And all of these links are in the chat right now, so you can engage with them. We leave them there for a couple of seconds. And yeah, we look forward to connecting with all of you again in our next webinar next month. So thank you so much for your time, Melissa, and all of the
Thank you,
attendees.
everyone.
All right, thank you, everyone. We'll be closing the event. All right, thank you, guys. See you at the next one. Bye-bye.